Okay, I apologize for the wind and the noise. I do live on a fairly busy street here, but I am test fitting the Air Struts here, and I'm going to try to get as best of a shot as I can. So this is a Mox setup in here. If I can get a better picture of this. So that's how the top is going to be, and now it's resting right on the lower shock mount there. I've removed the bump stop. You don't need that. And let's look at the clearance as I look underneath here. Alright, let me try to refocus here a little bit. So the lower mount with the bushing installed, I did have to use the MA811, the number 3 washer, because the number 4 washer that the MA793 comes with is too thick in order to fit in there. Now, this is under a little bit of a load. This is the full travel, and I'll measure what the height is with this down on the ground. As you can tell that the spring is pretty much unloaded, but if you could see, you have more than enough clearance with the stock wheels and the stock offset for the Air Strut to fit. Now let's look at the upper strut mount. I know this looks a little bit like a mess, but over here is the strut tower, and as you could tell, it is a little bit shorter than stock. Now this is the stock bolt that the Monroe came with, and this is the stock upper strut mount with the rubber mount and then the big washer. I reused the lock washer, and I pretty much have it tightened almost to spec, but I just wanted to see what the overall look of this and the fit of this would be. Okay, as I focus in on here, what you're seeing is the MA811 number 3 washer that the kit comes with, and then this is the number 4 that the 793 comes with. This is too thick, and it's also too wide. This one is actually a perfect size, and this I'll use on the other side to do and put it in like so to take up the slack on the lower eye mount. So what I'm going to do next is remove the Air Strut. I am going to have to put the stock one back in for right now, and then in the next series of video, I'll install these permanently and install the airlines with a few modifications that I had discussed in my first video. So let's go compare side by side what the 811, 793, and the stock strut look like. So here's a comparison of the stock strut, 793, and the 811. They're all at a full extended length. Now I'm going to do my best here to put these two together. Now you also have to consider this, that this bump stop is press fitted into here. This would come off, and so would this sleeve. And you're going to see that from here to here it is pretty long, but as far as travel is concerned, you got to only include from the end of the bump stop to the lower eye. And then if you look at it, the 811 actually makes the most sense from the mounting perspective from the travel. I can see why people wanted to have this, but the reason why this is longer is so that you can drop down the suspension, and this will still keep the tension on the spring. So this would not let your rear springs pop out due to the extended travel. Now, saying the same thing for the 793, if you consider that this is where the travel is going to be, this piece is going to be up against here. You will notice that in comparison to the stock shock here, you actually have a little bit more of travel to play with. Now, that is not necessarily a bad thing. You just got to be in mind that this is actually from here to all the way to here is actually about the same length as here to over here, and we'll measure that now. Okay, so as I tried to do this with one hand, that's where your bump stop is going to be, and that's where the start of the travel is. And if I can hold it here, you're looking at around 22 and a half. If you go from, now the 793 is a little bit longer, it's about 24 inches total length. However, the 811 is actually right where you need it to be when you figure from the bottom of this stem to the lower eye mount. And finally, just so you can get a comparison, this is all the lower eyes matched together. You know, that's your 10 millimeter bolt here. I've taken this piece off of here. It's just press fitted. Essentially, you would have to put it on like this, and this would go up through the this is where the upper strut mount would be, and you put your bolt on, and this would go down to the lower eye. You're done. So that's why I was saying that if you go from here to the extended travel, you're going to wind up getting, if I try to do this with one hand, I do apologize, the 793 actually does make the most sense at around 23 inches. That's why when you figure the bump stop on the stock shock is going to stop travel probably right around where that mark is. And again, I can't do it with one hand too well here, but you're at about the same size. And now if you did it with this, you're still about the same, but now you also got to consider that this is going to be up here like so. So let's match that as best we can, and now you're actually a bit shorter. So now you're at 21 3/4, 22 inches. Again, it's possible to use the 811, but I think the 793 is going to be a lot better. So the next segment will be me installing this and testing it.